So the companies are making an investment and are facing costs when they look for candidates. And so, yes, what we say is that before looking, and what everybody does, so internal recruiters or agency recruiters like me, like myself, what we do is depending on the seniority of the person. So, for example, seniors instead of juniors, because that determines the specialism and the degree of mastery of the skills that we are looking for. Depending on that, we look in some places instead of others. I will explain this. The main way we do it is that we start looking really in the neighborhood of where the company is, and then we expand. And sometimes, and most times, when the search is difficult, we do ask the manager if they are open to work with someone that comes from another country. And in some cases, when I have put together the delivery center of consultancy. No, yeah, it was a delivery center. It was the team. Anyway, I set up a team. I gathered a team in Slovakia in IT, and I've asked the manager what he was thinking, and he said, "Well, yes, I don't mind." But in some other regions, like for example in Italy, people must speak Italian. It's really, really, it is really, really not how would you say? It doesn't happen often that in an office everybody speaks English. And so someone that comes from another country is going to have a hard time. And the managers know that. And the point is the point is contribution. I will open, so is how the candidate is going to be contributing to the team life and to the office and to the work. An aspect of contribution is what I tell on the phone when I coach my candidates about working abroad. My second question is, after asking, so where would you like to work? In which country, in which town? I ask, when they tell me, I ask, okay, are you fluent in the language of this country? And what I receive usually is for English. And what I receive is the answer that sounds like, oh, well, yeah, I understand really well. And I watch movies in the native language and I understand everything. But for speaking, I'm a bit slow, but yeah, I can. And I say, well, you need to be able to speak, like in order to be considered and in order to be able to at least have a chance to make a difference and an impact and, work and survive in an office, you need to be as fluent as you are in your own language. Like if you are as fluent as able to do banter or to crack jokes, then this is a very good level, and you have extremely good chances to be considered for the job. But if you are at the level where you understand English from movies and you don't speak so much, well, you need to imagine that you walk in a meeting and you have the seniority to make decisions, or to be given responsibility for specific tasks and processes, and you cannot express and articulate in the language where everybody else will understand. This is particularly real in countries like France and Germany and Italy, where most of the people, where English is not a second language. It is for some, but it's not as in countries like Denmark or Sweden or also the Netherlands, where almost everybody of the new generations and people up to 40, 45 years old, they all speak English. So when you go to a company, for example, like from medium to large, there are good chances that the corporate language is English. But in those other countries that I mentioned earlier, that doesn't happen, even if they're listed in the stock exchange. A few ones are starting now to have English as the professional language in the company, meaning that you walk in and you have other people from other countries and you do speak English all day. So it is possible to find a job abroad, but it all starts with a very good awareness of where you start, where you stand, and provided that you know where you want to go to work, and provided that you know already what it means to go there. So it means that you have to do your own research and look for a visa, or be aware of what you should expect. Everything that you can control, you need to check and to have your plan done. Everything else is something that you need to ask, or you need to try and get, like finding a job or asking for help to recruiters and agencies. So what I suggest, if you're looking for a job abroad, is to start calling, first of all, is putting your LinkedIn on, because you need to be ready beforehand. So I suggest to switch your LinkedIn location to the town where you want to be. When I moved to London, I didn't at the beginning. And the day that I have realized, listen, I am in London actually, so let's switch to London. Like, I've done that in the morning, and in the afternoon I was already getting job descriptions in the inbox. I had like 10 in an afternoon in 2012. And so you need to do this. You need to, before you do that, because then you will be on the radar of the recruiters that are recruiting first in the neighborhood, right? Or they're recruiting in town. You need to have your LinkedIn ready. So go back to the LinkedIn section and follow that advice. And also you need to take your CV and change the address. Why? Well, because we are always talking about the same thing. You need to have a CV that says that you are in town. Otherwise, the recruiter overlooks, like they pass on. They don't do. I remember a case of a guy in Israel, and I had received his CV. It was perfect for the job I was researching in Basel. It was perfect. And I didn't call him. He called me after 3-4 days, he sent it. And I had to tell him, look, I can't do anything for you because you are in Israel and I'm looking for people in Switzerland. And, before I get to you, I need to see who is local. And he said, but and he in the CV didn't have the information that were spot on for my search. For example, I was recruiting for regulatory affairs experts at the time, and I was looking for people with experience with the authority in Switzerland, so Swissmedic. He didn't have that in the original CV, and guess what? We discovered, like talking on the phone, he told me that he sent the CV to the HR of the company I was recruiting for. And she didn't see it. Well, she saw it, but she easily forgot and overlooked or looked to other people. And the story then was that he told me, look, but I have the experience in Switzerland and I've been working for 7 years there. And I was like, nothing of this is in your CV. What he wrote was, he sent me the standard CV. And he had to push through. And at the end, the search went really good because I optimized the CV, as I've told you in the section of how to optimize the CV with the recruiter. But we optimized the CV. I sent it to the company, and they called him immediately, setting up a call, although he was in Israel, and they invited him over for the interview. And at the end, the HR found out that she received the CV already, but she, as I did initially, the attention went elsewhere because there was nothing there that could hook the attention, and it was spot on and specific to the country and the place. So you need to redo your CV country specific. So it means that if you had already work experience because you are a consultant or you are one of a sales representative or anybody that have professional interests, meaning commitments in the area, then you should write it. You should write that you travel once every week or once a month to Stockholm because you have there an office, your company has an office, and you are holding the meetings there, because it puts you in a position that is so much more interesting than a plain CV that says that you are working in, I don't know, in the country where you are. And it doesn't say, you are just another random person. You occur as another random person that is just looking for a job abroad and not for a job in Stockholm. And then the next step, when you have these, let's say, marketing tools ready, you need to check or put in private mode Facebook, or put Facebook on the place where you want to be, because you don't know, but people look at your social media, and you need to be ready and aligned, and everything needs to be congruent. Something that happens is the recruiters are people that are able to push through every day, because our job is just to make sure that we don't miss out good candidates. So in my case, I check everything. I don't leave stones unturned. If I see someone that has the CV that looks like he's in town, and also the LinkedIn says he's in town, and then look, Facebook he's not anymore, he's elsewhere, then I call him and make sure that he's there. But sometimes people in companies, like managers, and they don't have the time. It's not their job to make sure. They go for the easiest thing, and they don't call you. And again, they move on, and the job goes, or the phone call goes to someone else. So you need to be congruent. And what else I can tell you about this? That's all for now.